Today I'm starting a new project. Basically what it is it's a knife storage rack. This is the general shape of it. It's going to be for the kitchen counter. It'll sit this way on the counter, and what's going to hold the knives are these little skewers for barbecuing. When you tightly pack these, you can slide the knives in between them without any damage to either one. The width of this will probably be about 3 inches wide. There will be a back on it, and it'll be filled with probably 10,000 of these little skewers to hold the knives. The original design for this, the idea for this, came from somewhere on the web, and we currently now have a can full of these. A square can is about 5 inches, and you just stick the knives down into it. It works pretty well. These will be glued into the bottom, and so they won't pull out. This design I came up with, I saw one of our friends had a hair barrette, and I took a picture of it. These are actually 4 horses on this one. This is a metal hair clip of something she was wearing on the back of her head. So that's where my inspiration came for this carving. So we've got it basically outlined, and it'll have 3 horses on it instead of 4. And I'll show you the drawing here. If you can see, this basic outline is the shape of it, and the skewers will go in like this and just have the whole row full of them stacked up to the top. Hopefully we'll have them finished pretty soon. Pretty simple idea, but it works. And it allows you to put in any type of knife, as opposed to the wood blocks that you have from the manufacturers, where you only have a certain number of slots, or a knife has to go in a specific place because it won't fit anywhere else. This allows you that freedom. So I'll show you a little bit more as we go along. But I got started on this, and I realized that I hadn't made an intro video. So I've made the back and the bottom to support the skewers, and they're going to fit at about this configuration. This is as long as I can get them. Actually, at the top here, I'm going to have to trim them as I put them in. But what I'm going to do is start a square arrangement and glue them to the bottom as I lay them in. And this will be the top, fit on there like that. It'll fit on the kitchen counter this way, and the knives will be right here. I've put 2 partitions in here. This is going to form the main body for the skewers. They're all going to fit right in here, and I've covered these with wax paper so that the glue doesn't stick to them. I'm going to glue them across the bottom and just basically fill this whole compartment up. How long that'll take, I don't have any idea. But it seems like it's going to be a pretty involved procedure and take a lot of time. So let's get started. So I'm just going to take a few of these and dip them in the glue. So I've got basically one row in here. I'm going to put this little device in here to help hold these down, get them all aligned so that they're all as straight as possible. I'm going to put this weight on here. If you're wondering what this is, it's a stage weight. It's used for the fly gallery, and it's from my junior high school in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, so I hope they aren't still looking for it. It's been quite a while since. And this is some wet lead from our stained glass projects around here. So that looks pretty good. I think they're all even. I'm going to take and brush this off so there's not a lot of glue buildup on the top of the layer, so that the next layer will lay down quite flat. And this will give me just a little bit more glue. Now that they're all laying flat, I can spread this across here. I'm trying to get like a half to maybe 3/4 of an inch of glue on all these. So that's our first layer. As I've said sometimes before, it's going to be rinse and repeat, but it looks like it might be 400 times by the time I get this thing filled up. So hopefully it'll go a little bit quicker. It's 86 degrees here in Humboldt today, so this stuff is set up for probably an hour, and it looks like it's pretty dry. So I'm going to try putting another layer on. Take these weights off. See what happens. Ooh. It's alive. Some of them kind of sprung apart here, but it looks like they're pretty well attached at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just start another row and see what I can do with it. If you didn't see it before, I have a paint cap from a spray can, and I started off with about a 1/2 inch worth of glue, so I'm just trying to get this thing cleaned out and get a good amount on the bottom of all these skewers. And it looks like I've got more than one row in there, but that's the best I can do. So I'm going to put this in and see if I can help align them. Trying to get them flat. I don't know what else to do, but this seems to be working pretty well to hold them all down, and they look pretty even. I'll add some more glue. Back with the stage weight and the lead weight. And I want to check here at the top too and make sure that I have all these pushed in. I'd have to move the camera to show you, but I'm just pushing with this board onto the pointy tips to make sure that they're all
seated well. It looks like I could use some more glue down in there, so I think I'll brush some more glue on there and then move this clamp down. So we'll brush this in. Make sure everybody gets a little share. I'd like to end up with a nice flat area across there as far as the glue goes, so I'm going to move this down a little bit. See if I can get maybe a little bit more pressure. Here on the front. So if a little lead weight's good, a lot ought to be much better. It's like Jane Mansfield said, anything in excess is just wonderful. So we'll leave it set. Take my support again, and then I'm going to just tamp these down. See if they can help square them up. Well, I've kept building up the skewers, and I'm getting up within a ½ an inch of this side, so pretty close to being finished on this section. Once I get this section done, I'll take these boards out on each side and try to fill this in. So at least this portion will have skewers the whole way down, so we can put some short knives in this section here. This is going to be the top. I can add just a little bit more to this side. I've gotten the skewers at, of all places, at Party City. This bag is 100 pieces, and it's 12 by 12 inches or 30.5 centimeters. It's got 100 pieces in it, and it was $2 for this bag. So gonna need a couple more bags to finish this up, so I've got this to install, and I'll have to go get some more. What I've done is, since this is tapered up here at the top, it's got this angle on it. The skewers have to be a little bit shorter. So what I've done is I put this block in there, and I'm now going to use 10-inch skewers. And of course, this area is going to be a little bit shorter. You won't be able to put so many long knives in there, but I think this will work out fine. Once again, it's decision time. You saw me, I adjusted this side to accommodate shorter skewers so that I don't have to cut them all along this angle here. Otherwise, I'd be putting them in one at a time. Well, the same problem exists on this side, and it's even more drastic, is that I would have to cut along this line each one and put them in one at a time. So what I've decided is I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to mount this block and put my little partition in, and that will allow me to take the skewers, put them in this way, get a mark on them, and cut them all off and just stack them up. Once I've got this filled, as I'm filling this side over here, I'll just move this up and make another partition here with shorter ones. I realize that these are getting really short, and we'll have to remember to use the longer knives in this section. But this area over here will definitely hold a lot of small paring knives and things like that with short blades 3 to 4 inches long. So I believe it'll all be used. It'll just take a little bit more time. So that's where I'm at now. I'm going to mount this here and start filling this compartment. So I started to fill in this small area over here, and I did cut some of the 10-inch sticks down all at one time, which was kind of exciting on the radio arm saw. So what I've done is made a gauge now that I've got one to fit, and I can just clip these off, and that makes it the same length. All I have to do is make sure they're pushed in. So I just put the point in there and clip the end off. And once again, I'm building these up in probably 1/2 inch increments, just so that I make sure the glue dries. I don't want a surprise if I put all the glue in there at one time and not have it set up correctly. So once again, this is wax papered because this will come out and move over for the next partition of sticks. And I'll put some back over on this side. And once again, I'm going to have to find something to weight that down with. So that's the last of this section skewers, and we should be finished with that. So next thing is finishing the outside cover, which I'm putting some shellac sanding sealer on, and then I'm going to shellac it, and then I will mount it, and I'll probably put pocket holes screws in this to attach it to the base. I'm drilling some pocket holes to attach to what's going to be the front of the knife rack, and This is pretty interesting to come up with ways to attach this. Some pre-planning might have resulted in me drilling these holes before we put all these skewers in here. One of the things I always wonder about when I look at videos about woodworking is how much things cost to put together. Although there's not a lot of material cost in wood, this is a lot of particle board. This is a piece of alder. It's got a 1/4 inch hardboard backer to it because I wanted to keep it thin. And there's some hardwood up here in the front, small piece. And of course the carving is made out of alder also. But what surprised me was the number of skewers that we used on this project. And like I said, we did a test module with a Ritz can here. And if I just take these bags of skewers, there's 100 per bag here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags in here, and it doesn't really quite fill this up. So I would say there's a good 6 bags at least or more to fill this up. Fortunately, these were only $2 a piece at Party City. But when you look at this can, or when you look at the whole assembly, there are 1, 2, maybe 2.5 cans. So I would estimate that at 6 units per can, 12, probably 16, maybe even 18 bags of, and they were $2 a piece, so that's like $36. Some of these shorter ones, these were the 10-inch ones that I cut down, and also these are 10-inch ones that I cut down. These we got from Restaurant Depot, and they were like $10 for a box of 1,000 or something like that, so they were more reasonable than these. But so it's probably, I would say, under $50 project. Well, I've gotten everything together, and I'm going to put the top on it. After I drilled those pocket hole screws, I'm going to put some pocket hole screws through the bottom here and through the top to hold it together, and that should be it.